One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning to the IWF, man, and happy Thirsty Thursday to everybody. Let's get it this morning. All right, obviously we have a lot to discuss. You guys are seeing the title. I'm sure that you guys are going, what? What do you mean China's getting involved? Well, they're involved, but from far a little bit. We'll talk about that. So we got China enters Iran conflict, as well as Trump speaks, and Russia strikes Kyiv. So that is the title, but let me go ahead and just chronologically show you guys or break down what we're going to be discussing this morning. So yesterday, the Federal Reserve votes to leave key interest rates unchanged. Now, I was actually hoping this information was going to come out earlier yesterday, but it came out kind of late in the evening kind of thing. So, let's see here. We also have Trump takes, well, actually, I just didn't happen to see it until the evening, but it did come out in the afternoon. I just didn't see it until the evening. Trump takes questions on Iran and Ukraine and citizenship. So he did that in the Oval Office yesterday. I guess he made some sort of transportation announcement. And then we have body cam shows Tony Romo, with officer during DUI arrest. Now, what's funny about this, I actually saw the actual arrest on social media first. I saw that, like, I don't know, 3 days ago, something like that. It was this week, and I happened to see it on the internet, and I was like, oh, shit, this motherfucker a little bit lit. And, of course, he declined, to take a breathalyzer, and he's like, yeah, every lawyer, every attorney would tell you never to do it, So anyways, we got Lindsay Clancy trial, chilling 911 call from ex-husband played in court. When evidence starts emerging, it's brutal, man. 14 hours ago, U.S. launches new strikes against Iran in, quote, powerful response. Of course, pretty much every time we do make a response, it's a powerful response. Then we have Russia strikes Ukrainian capital with ballistic missiles, which is, as you guys know, Kyiv. That's what we have in the headline there. Of the title, I mean. Then we have Middle East latest. China reportedly sending 400 rocket launchers to Iran. Now, the rocket launchers are more of the shoulder China-made rocket launchers that are made to down helicopters, drones, stuff like that. That's what it is. So, but they have gotten themselves involved in that regard, aside from, because usually a lot of these guys, they'll give intelligence and stuff, but from afar, and that's really it. They really don't give much or whatever, but this one, China did give them 400 rocket launchers, and I guess they're supposed to be arriving in the coming weeks for them. And we also have the details on that whole thing as well, because of course, I'm going to research it. And then we have a new video that came out 3 hours ago. War between U.S. and Iran escalates as China gets involved. As you guys, I just told you guys how they got involved. It's not like they're on the actual battlefield or anything, but when you start buying defensive weapons or any weapons of any type, yeah, you're definitely setting yourself into the ring a little bit. Then we have Russia charges Telegram founder with aiding terrorism. Putin, you pay for terrorism too. That's what you do with Iran and their proxies. You want to talk about what Iran, what Russia's proxy really is? Shit, that would be Iran, right? So it's kind of interesting how, when it's on his side, he's like, we're going to get these guys for terrorism. What are you talking about? All right. Anyways, listen, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the madness, let's go ahead and quickly do our call to actions, and then we'll get into the madness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it, and it's free to do so. You know what else is free is hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and of course, we have members only on Saturday morning where we don't discuss any of this shit. We actually have a good time. Speaking of members, though, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $4.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves and keep these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. A little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as politics, all that great shit. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one, and we also have a Discord server for all of you legends, by the way. In the description down below of any live video that we do, we have that invite link. And what's great about it is not just us hanging out as a community, of course, that's like the best part about it, but there is a subsection in the server itself with breaking news. That's where I do minute-by-minute plays of what's happening, especially in the regards to Iran or the Middle East in general. But, of course, we report all of it, where it's not just Middle East specific. And of course, last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms scrolling around the screen at any time. You can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And of course, we'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a normal super chat. So I've got my email up, or always be scanning. All right. Good morning to everybody, man. Always appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with us and enjoying the morning. Real quick, we got Motobomb Virginia as well as Carney Vanguard for the first two comments of the morning, and both of them rated us this morning, so I can't thank you guys enough. From the coffee crew, man, you guys are legends. Let's see here. We got Vanguard Critters as well. Good morning to you. We got Gary and my brother Dean over there rolling 3. Yes, sir. Good morning to you. We got Rabbit of Chaos. I think I just said that. We got Steve Posey. Good morning to you as well. We got Prez. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning. We got OG Steve Easy. Yes, sir. Good morning to you. We got Virginia Chaos. Good morning. Let's see. We got Charlie Rose as well. Appreciate you. We got Hardwire and Steve Posey. Good morning to you guys. Running our way down, promise. Let's see. We got GEG in here early. Usually pops in a little bit later. We got TVT as well. Good morning to you guys. We got Easy Frank. We got I like this. Mike says, I'm not gay, but if you offer, I'm in. Well, shit. Oh, shit. I got a question for you.
Why are you gay?
Shit. Feels ultra bad.
You are gay.
There we go. I was looking for it. Let's see here. We got, that's right. Double tap that screen. Give a like from Mike. Facts. We got Carrie, Rob's neighbor. Shout out to my man. Good morning to you. All right. Thank you guys for all being here. Let's go ahead and get into the madness. We're going to start with the Federal Reserve decision of keeping it the exact same what it was. I think a lot of people were anticipating that it was going to be dropped. I knew that there was I knew that that was a possibility, but I didn't really think that that would be the right move anyways. I think keeping it the same is probably the best thing that they can do, going to be honest. I know that other economists may even get mad at me. Shit, real economists are going to look at the market objectively and be like, we need to raise interest rates.
That is just one of the many top stories that we're following in live events as they're coming into our newsroom. Right now, I want to take you out to this. We told you that this was going to be happening, and just stepping up about 4
Yeah, Diane, definitely not good.
minutes ago is the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, now answering questions about leaving interest rates unchanged this round. Let's listen in.
After all, the central bank need not always and everywhere be the center of attention. I understand the desire for rolling forecasts and commentary from this committee.
He's speaking a little slow there, so let's go ahead and speed him up.
But for our part, we need to observe market reaction to developments, direct and unfiltered. I want to stress, of course, that decisions by this committee matter a great deal. And where necessary and appropriate, we will not hesitate to act. A second economic development is one that I noted at the congressional oversight hearings this month, but it's worth repeating. The most striking feature of the economy is the strong growth of business investment.
Yeah, so for some reason, no, it doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes it works for people, and then the other times it doesn't. It's weird.
The surge in high-tech capex has been remarkable, but that does not necessarily make the Fed's role any easier. In the AI-related category of high-tech equipment and software, the most recent data shows 4-quarter growth rates of nearly 20%. This is helping to sustain the healthy momentum of manufacturing output. More generally, CapEx is preparing the ground for future growth. Nonetheless, the precise timing and magnitude of effects on the supply side remain hard to predict. FOMC meetings produce policy decisions, but just as important is candid discussion of the big things that matter most. That too is a priority in this new.
What's up, Mr. Jack Talcott? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat. Happy Thirsty Thursday. Great to see you. And by the way, we're only going to be playing the front monologue of this real quick, and then we'll hop into Trump speaking in the Oval Office, taking questions on Iran, Ukraine, and citizenship, all those things. But we do got to get a little bit from him real quick.
Chapter at the Fed. In our meeting, vigorous discussions centered on 4 questions, which I will enumerate. First, we talked a lot about the implications of the past 5 years of high inflation on the current policy conjuncture. To echo an old phrase, has the past really passed? Second, my colleagues and I considered the economic shocks of recent years, strained supply chains arising from the pandemic, military conflicts, energy supply disruptions, substantial increases in tariff rates, and yes, the surge in AI-related investment. These differ in their sources. Do they also differ in their effects on output and employment? Third, we took up the related question of price increases arising from shocks. The business CapEx boom, for example, is driving up prices of memory and logic chips and associated AI infrastructure. Do these changes indicate a broader inflationary dynamic, or do we just focus on them because they are under the bright streetlight? Finally, we discuss monetary policy tools and strategies for achieving stable prices. If, as the Fed has long held, interest rate policy should be its primary monetary policy instrument, how much accommodation are we getting from the balance sheet? In all of this, our work is advancing at the Fed. We're asking the right questions. And in this consequential time, we know how very much depends on getting the right answers. Of course, you've all arrived with questions of your own, so let's turn to them now.
No. So just so you guys know, Federal Reserve will keep rates between 3.5% to 3.75% this cycle. All right, so that's all we need to get from him. We don't need to get questions or any of that. We know that they're leaving it unchanged. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into Trump and what he's talking about over there in the Oval Office. He takes some questions. We're not going to play this whole thing either. I am interested in the questions though, but we're not going to play the whole thing. We can't. Got way too much to cover this morning.
Thank you very much, everybody. This is very exciting to me as a builder, somebody that builds lots of big, nice projects before I got here. And we're doing some of the best in the world right now. This is all about the Dulles Airport remodeling. It's considered one of the worst airports anywhere in the world. We're going to make it maybe.
Yeah, Virginia Chaos, that guy is extremely dry. You know what I mean? Just no. There's nothing entertaining about it. Not even a fluctuation of voice or nothing.
The best with some
monotone
hard work and some good thought process. But thank you for being here as we unveil exciting plans for a major and long overdue renovation and reconstruction of Washington's really horribly thought of Dulles International Airport. I want to thank Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. He's fantastic. He's doing a great job, including having to do with the safety of airlines and getting in with the control towers and all new equipment that we'll be ordering in the not too distant future. So that we'll go from, again, one of the worst countries in the world for that, and we'll end up being one of the best countries in the world. That's automation, having to do with landings, takeoffs, and safety.
So this is on. So what he's talking about right here is Trump is talking about the airport remodeling in DC. They're going to keep the main, the main look of the actual place, I guess, and they're going to go ahead and make it where there's like, I mean, way more, the way that they put it out is that they'll be able to maximize the area and be able to have like a way more, space for people.
But for his leadership at this important project, and that's the Dulles project.
And making it more efficient.
Thanks as well to the CEO of United Airlines, Scott Kirby. Thank you, Scott. CEO of the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority, Jack Potter. Thank you, Jack. And we've developed a great relationship with them. We're going to make this something special, as well as a member of the Airports Authority Board of Directors, Trent Morse. Thank you, Trent. Thank you very much. Dulles Airport is the primary international gateway to our nation's capital, which is now one of the safest cities in the country. It's one of the hottest cities in the country. We are the hottest country in the world. But our nation's capital has made tremendous improvements in the last year and a half since we got here. Crime is down by 84%. We've removed almost 8,000 career-hardened criminals. And amazing statistic, 2% of the people cause 91% of the crime. And we can handle that really easily. So they've done, I just want to thank our great National Guard and the Metropolitan Police and others that worked with us. But the job in Washington, everyone's talking about. I can also say, if you look at Memphis, Tennessee, where crime was rampant, and it's down now 71%, and it'll go down still further. And Louisiana, New Orleans, the governor called, he said, we need help. And we gave him help, and the crime is down 72%. And they just finished Mardi Gras, and they said it was the safest Mardi Gras on record. So we have a modernization of Dulles that's sorely needed. Last year's J.D. Power ranked Dulles 23 out of 27. That's a very bad ranking. Large airports nationwide, so it ranks at the bottom of the list, just about the bottom of the list. After an extensive review of more than 30 proposals with the top architects anywhere in the world, and I was involved with Sean and with a lot of other people, actually, but Scott was very much involved, I can tell you. But we are announcing plans to add more than 5 million square feet of new or renovated space.
See, I knew that. Okay. I didn't want to say the number because I wasn't totally confirmed on that. Like I didn't like double check it, but 5 million.
But we are announcing plans to add more than 5 million square feet of new
5 million square feet
or renovated space. Will replace the current C&D concourses, which are basic disasters, all the while preserving the iconic original terminal. That is one of the great architects of the world did the original terminal, and it was very, very important that it be left. That's one of the reasons. It was both an asset and a liability. The liability is that nobody wanted to build anything near it, and people had to walk crazy distances, and it's no good, not acceptable. So we've...
Shit, what's up, Wildcard? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Happy Thirsty Thursday to everybody. By the way, we have well over 100 people in here between both the live streams. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Appreciate you guys.
Addressed it all, and we have a plan that's going to be phenomenal. But we're going to replace the C&D concourses and preserve the iconic original terminal that first made the airport an architectural landmark. So it's going to be something you can sort of see a little example of it right here. That's your front. On the other side of the street, we're building a massive 9-story, 8-story, 10-story. We're not sure yet, but we're building a parking garage that will be right next to the terminal. You'll walk right across the street, and you'll have a glass bridge, a number of glass bridges that will go right into
a number of glass bridges.
The terminal. Right now, you have to walk so far. You have to walk blocks and blocks to get to the terminal. And we have an empty site right directly across the street that nobody wanted to tinker with.
Okay, so you guys know that now this is the dualies, or however you say it. I don't even know how to say it, but it's the airport over there in DC. Okay. Trump and the administration plans on renovating it and making it more efficient, adding 5,000 square feet to the whole thing. So now that's what they're going to be renovating. So now let's go ahead and take a couple of questions because I want him to speak on Iran, and I want to hear the questions about not necessarily about the airport.
And it's going to be, I believe it's going to go, it'll be rated within a few years, it'll be rated the best airport in the country. So it's going to be so efficient. Right now, it's totally inefficient. Between the trams and the Star Wars thing that they call it the Star Wars, and elevated buses, and nobody objected.
Got it. And let's get into questions.
And it is a mess enough that it'll work.
I'm trying to get to questions. God damn, these guys. Can you just get to the fucking questions?
But really, all Americans will be able to be proud and forward. This is something that thank you to United.
They were going to start with a little section here, a little section there, and that wouldn't have worked. It wasn't a design.
Authority to make this.
God, these guys can just go forever.
It's largely financed, and these questions.
Here we go.
Very quickly on this issue. Did you just say 2 years? It would take 2 years to
We
finish
think we
this?
can get it started fairly quickly. It's largely financed. And we need some approvals from Congress probably, but generally speaking, it's been very
And
bipartisan.
then on the attack, the drone attack on the LNG tanker off of Egypt,
Yeah.
what can you tell us about that? And is there any indication it's Iran related? Does it represent?
Well, I'm going to give you a
war?
report. I've been briefed. It's a little more of the same, but it's going to be straightening out. It's going to be straightening out. In the meantime, we're going to be hitting them very hard because it's our turn to hit them. They know it's coming. They're asking us not to do it, but they tried shooting it last night. So we had 5 rockets shot going 8,500 miles an hour, and all 5 rockets were knocked down to the ground. But they nevertheless took a shot. So it's our turn, and we'll see if we get there with an agreement at some point. But we're going to hit them very hard.
Mr. President, first on this, is this expected to affect any incoming or outgoing flights?
No, we think we can do it without a lot of disruption. Very little.
And then
It might even be better.
on Leader Thune, what's your reaction to him saying that there's no evident path to success on killing the filibuster or passing the Save America Act?
Well, that's too bad for him. I mean, that's too bad for him and too bad for the Republican Party.
Do you believe that?
He's got the votes. He should get it done. He should be able to get it done.
Mr. President, thank you. Dr. Fauci invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 100 times today.
Yes,
Senator
sir.
Rand Paul said he's going to hold a vote on holding him in contempt of Congress. Do you think Dr. Fauci
In contempt of court, actually, but yeah.
should face repercussions for this?
Well, I watched the whole thing today, but more importantly, I was a part of the whole Fauci. I inherited Fauci. He was here from the 1980s, so I had him for a period of time. And I disagreed with him on a lot. I would have had to close down the whole country if I listened to him. I went the Federalist way, which is basically let the governors decide. And generally speaking, the Republican governors
What's up, Tiffany? By the way, good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat.
did very well. The Democrat governors did not very well. But Fauci wanted to have nobody wearing masks, if you remember, and then everybody had to wear 5 masks, as many masks as you could get. I mean, he made a lot of mistakes. And he wasn't a big factor for me. He was a very big factor for Biden. And if you remember, even though we were sort of prime time in terms of that whole disaster of COVID, far people died, fewer in the Trump administration than in the Biden administration. We ran it well. Operation Warp Speed was talked about as being one of the great success stories anywhere in the world, actually. And we did a good job. But many more people died under Biden than died in the Trump administration from COVID. COVID was a disaster, but Fauci did not help.
Do you think that the DOJ should reopen the investigation into the auto pen, specifically pertaining to Fauci?
Well, the only thing you can really think about is the auto pen, because the most powerful thing the president has, they say, is the power of pardon. So he was pardoned by Biden, and I respect that. I know how powerful it is. It's a very powerful, they say it's literally the most powerful thing a president has. Now, whether or not I sign my things directly, always, almost everything I sign directly. You're witness to many of them. He signed very few. The only thing I know that he signed was Hunter Biden's pardon, but I'm not sure that he signed, he probably didn't sign this one. So I can't tell you what the law is. I've heard that you have to have a lot of proof. You need to have letters. You need to have all sorts of things that the person operating the auto pen has to know exactly what it's all
What's up, Extra Surprise? Good morning.
about. He didn't know what it was about because I saw him testify. So maybe there's something on the auto pen. Other than that, the power of pardon is very powerful. Wait, what's it?
Thank you. Beth Turner, GB News. We've just heard you talking about another example of American excellence. That's really what this is. It's a project where you're striving to be the best in the world. As a Brit, that's really striking to me. You've had a couple of weeks to get to know our new Prime Minister. Have you spoken to him
I
much?
have.
And do you think he is the man to lead us to excellence?
Well, he did say one very good thing. He said he's going to open up North Sea oil. If he does that, you're going to be a wealthy country. If he does it reasonably. I was telling Prime Minister Starmer, open up the North Sea. Open it up. You'll be okay. Open it up. They have 2 problems. They have a huge immigration problem, people coming from all over the world and just camping out in your country. And we've taken a very tough stand. In fact, for 14 months, nobody has come into our country. 0, which is almost hard to believe, but that's what the report says. Our borders become very strong and your border's very weak. He's got that problem. And he's got energy problem.
What's up, TNT, as well? Great to see you, my man. Happy Thirsty Thursday.
He's got windmills all over the place. And
Get the likes
anytime
up,
you see
everybody.
windmills, you see a failing country. And they're made in China, not used by China, but they're made in China. And you have a thing called the North Sea. And you buy a lot of your energy, as you know, from the North Sea. You buy from Norway. And Norway gets it from the North Sea. They get their oil from the North Sea. And Norway's got trillions of dollars in the bank, trillions. It sells its oil from the North Sea. And Scotland has a better part of the North Sea. And you have 500, 600, 700 years. You have areas of the North Sea that haven't even been explored yet. You have one of the most valuable oil finds anywhere in the world. And if the United Kingdom would use it, they'd be a wealthy country again. And I tell you what, I could not get Starmer to use it. It was incredible. Every oil company that I meet, and these are
What's up, Josh Phillips, Alabama's finest? Good morning, by the
all
way.
big giants. Every person that I know in the oil business said, please, could you open up the North Sea? Could you get them to open it? They're dying to do it. And if you open up the North Sea to the oil companies, Scotland, Ireland, the UK as a whole, but it's right in Aberdeen, Scotland. It's right in Aberdeen. And that would be one of the most vibrant. You know, it used to be called the oil capital of Europe. Aberdeen was the capital of Europe. And now it's, they don't drill oil. And nobody can understand why. You have it's among the finest oil. It's the best oil anywhere on the planet. And it's unbelievable plenty. You don't have to pay Norway triple what it costs them to take out. You have your own oil and gas. If you use the North Sea, the UK will be a really rich country. I cannot get the point across. The new gentleman, when I spoke to him, he said he's going to open up the North Sea. Let's see if that happens.
We'll take maybe 2 or 3 more questions, but then we got to move on.
To keep interest rates unchanged, are you surprised by that? Are you disappointed in any way?
These are all relevant questions, so it's good that we're getting these questions answered by Trump himself.
Kevin's fantastic, but he's got a board. Yeah, Kevin's got a board. He's fantastic. He's a brilliant guy, smart. I know he'd love to see lower interest rates, but he's got a board, and it's a political board, and they want to keep rates up. But we fight through rates. We have the strongest investment ever made in a country, of any country. It was China about 13, 14 years ago. We have far greater, 19 point, even Jensen would say that's a lot. 19, and Jensen's spending a tremendous amount of money by hundreds of billions of dollars. He happens to be in the room. He's spending more than United, actually. He does. But he's spending 10 billion. But Jensen's spending hundreds of billions, right? I don't know. That's not a bad business. But no, we have 19.2 trillion. It's the biggest number ever spent in any country by far. And that's over a period of 1 year. As an example, as you know, the Biden administration for 4 years did much less than 1 trillion. We're doing 19.2 trillion in 1 year. So we have things that are happening in our country, the likes of which nobody's ever seen.
Which, yeah, the foreign investments have been immaculate. That's something that he has done very well, objectively, but we need to get this figured out with the whole aspect of the war going forward.
And factories.
Because to be honest, I just see a constant cycle, that we're just going to be in this loop. I'm not really sure that we have any type of actual good exit strategy right now.
Are moving in. Toyota just announced they're building one of the largest car plants anywhere in the world, and truck plants anywhere in the world. We are building more automobile plants now than at any time in the history of our country.
Yes. In particular, this is just one of several projects that you have underway in the DMV. Why would you say that you're so focused on transforming the Washington region right now?
Well, this is an important one. This is travel. So in terms of the importance, I think the Arc is going to be incredible. I think the protected ballroom and military center that we're building at the White House is going to be unbelievable. It's very important. But, this is the airport. This is sort of the lifeblood of a city or a capital, certainly a capital.
And the reason why they're talking about this airport is because Trump, during this actual conference, he was just announcing at the top of it how him and his administration are going to basically remodel that airport in D.C.
And this will go from one of the worst, just like Washington. Washington was one of the worst places in this country. And now it's one of the best. You couldn't.
Yo, Irish, what have I shown you that is any opinions or any of that shit? I'm showing you exactly what is going on. Are you that dense, bro? Serious? Wow. I haven't shown you any opinions. Actually, any opinions came from me. Didn't come from from Live Now. I'm showing you what's happening objectively. Don't be low IQ, homie.
Get into a restaurant because all the restaurants were closing or closed. They were afraid to have it open. Now you can't, if you're a restaurateur, you can't even find space to have a restaurant. The restaurants are booming. So, it's a great thrill. And by the way, if you look, Washington is clean. It's safe. People walk to work. Every day, a young man or a young woman comes up and says, thank you, sir. I know exactly what he's talking about. They couldn't wait. They were afraid to walk to work. Now they literally walk to the White House. Washington is now a beautiful and clean. We got rid of the graffiti. 78 monuments and different things have been cleaned. They were strewn with graffiti. We had 28 fountains that not one of them worked. For years, for decades, they haven't worked. They're all up in service, and nobody's seen anything like it. We have it clean. We're changing all the grass at all the parks. That's going to be changed very shortly. The parks are, because the grass is very, grass is like human beings. Grass is a life also.
Sure, Josh, just for you, absolutely.
And we're raking, cleaning, and changing all of the parks. We don't have people. We don't have the tents anymore. We don't have all the barbed wire up.
Oh shit, real quick, we gotta do a little housekeeping over here. We got Texas Gidget in the building, as well as brother PJ. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us this morning. Hopefully you're all enjoying the morning. By the way, we've got well over 150 people between both the live streams. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. And listen, man, you don't have to like all the craziness that's happening around the world or here in this nation in the United States, but you guys can like it from me and what we're doing here on Insane Wheels. So thank you for that.
Don't have the wire up. Washington's become a beautiful city. It's become a hot city. But, you know, even more importantly, the United States right now is the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Mr. President, just a point 30 on the airport. No federal funding will be required. What did you mean when you said Congress made it?
Sean,
So it's going to be bonded for $22.5 billion. United is going to partake in part of the payment, but the airlines who participate in the project are going to pay for it. If I can just make one point of clarification, we have some permitting we have to do, but we think in the spring, this is both Concourse A. We think we can start construction in the spring of next year. So we're trying to move at the speed of President Trump. It's never fast enough, but we're going as quickly as possible so we can give a deliverable to the American people.
And the other thing Sean's doing, which I think is so important, maybe more important, I don't think it can be more important than this, but he's working on air traffic control. We have an obsolete system. It's 50 years old.
I agree. And I think it should be privatized.
You saw the helicopter crash a year ago into a plane. That was a disaster. And things like that would never happen. Bells would have gone off in 4 or 5 minutes before it happened. You would have heard the bells and whistles would have gone off. And a thing like that couldn't have happened if you had proper air control. So what's happened is we are working very hard on getting the finest in the country now in the world. We've examined the systems of almost every good country in terms of air traffic control all over the world. And we have the best people.
What's up, Mountain Woman? Good morning. Happy Thirsty Thursday to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
Working on it in the world. And it'll make, I mean, so often you'll see somebody even bunking into each other at an airport. But where planes come too close, where planes, in the case of the helicopter the helicopter hits the plane, we are working on air traffic control to redo the entire system, including the new towers, because the towers are obsolete. You know, you don't think of it. You see a tower and it looks fine. You go into those towers, they're literally falling down. So we're talking about new towers and all new air traffic control, which will give us the safest anywhere in the world.
Mr. President, why do you think Dr. Fauci invoked the Fifth Amendment so many times today when he has the pardon? And why could
111 times.
What was stopping him from just giving an honest testimony this morning?
Well, look, I've never been a big fan of Fauci. Why he did that was very simple. You know, I don't know if he would have been better off not doing it. There were a lot of questions that I guess he could have answered, and some maybe he didn't feel comfortable in answering, but his lawyer told him to do that.
The Prime Minister hasn't mentioned publicly migration at all since he's gone into number 10. Did you discuss it with him?
I did, briefly.
I don't know why they just cranked up his microphone or his audio there.
He's going to have to mention it because it's killing your country.
Mr. President,
killing you.
He won't talk to you.
He's killing your country.
He won't talk to you.
And not him. I mean, we'll have to see. I know Sarma did very little about it. And they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Africa. They're coming from South America. They're coming from different parts of Asia. And they're invading Europe. I mean, they're invading Europe.
What's up, Kurt? Good morning to you. Great to see you.
Invasion. And the UK is a prime suspect.
Mr. President, on Todd Blanche, Senator John Cornyn of Texas has been hesitant to back the confirmation.
Okay, I think this is actually a good place for us to go ahead and leave off because we got too much to cover this morning to get stuck. Okay, so we've got body cam. This is actually so funny. I saw this posted on social media. I saw it posted on Instagram. I think like within the last 3 days. It was this week it happened. Anyways, I saw this and I just thought it was funny. It was being covered by Live Now. So body cam shows Tony Romo arguing with officer during DUI arrest, and he denies, doing a breathalyzer or whatever, and then of course he got arrested. But
and
welcome back, everyone. We got to see the footage.
Worldwide for you on Live Now from Fox. We continue to bring you some
Real
of the
quick
biggest
on
top
it.
stories and headlines. One of those stories that we are following for you, the Tony Romo DUI arrest body cam video has been released here, and it goes on for quite some time, and you see the different aspects of this investigation. Tony Romo also, according to police, had an open bottle of alcohol in his car during the arrest as well here. So we want to get some insight and analysis here on this type of body cam that was released. Also, the investigation into Tony Romo. So let's bring in our next guest to help break it all down. Randy Zellin.
No, I don't want no guest.
No,
I don't care about a guest. I want to see the video, bro. Yeah, let's get into the video. I don't care about this guy. All right, here we go.
I was a fan when he was the quarterback.
Oh, they're not going to play it uninterrupted? You guys are fucking lame. Are you serious? Oh, it does look like they do play it at the end. Hopefully they don't have somebody talking over it. Oh, I think they do.
They suspect that he's under the influence of something, Mike, especially after he said that he had...
Well, no shit. Give me a break. Can you fucking just play the video? I don't need your analysis, bro. Yeah, see, you know what? Just because they didn't just show the raw video by itself, fuck them. You know, that's how I am with that. All right, Lindsay Clancy trial, chilling 911 call from ex-husband played in court. All right, let's go and bring this up quickly. We haven't done the money part. Let's do the money part real quick, and we'll get into it.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
That's actual factuals. And by the way, you know, regarding that last story, how I just said, you know, I think that they should embrace their fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We shall always embrace the process over here in Insane Wheels. All right, real quick, we got TNT. He sent in 10 jewels with the gold coin. Appreciate that, by the way. And sends in another 10 with that poop emoji, man. I appreciate you, by the way. Thank you very much for making it rain in the chat. All right, let's go ahead and bring up this story here, and we'll figure out what the hell is going on. Before we get into U.S. launches new strikes against Iran in powerful response. Then we haven't even touched on Russia and Ukraine yet. Russia just strikes Ukrainian capital with ballistic missiles, which is obviously Kyiv. Then we have to get into China reportedly sending 400 rocket launchers to Iran. Now, they're not the rocket launchers you guys may be thinking of. They're the shoulder ones. And it's more of a defense weapon. You know, you use it against helicopters, you use it against drones, incoming drones, stuff like that. Anyways, so whoops, I thought I was playing the right video.
Live now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. The gut-wrenching 911 call made by Patrick Clancy was played inside of the New England courtroom today. Lindsay Clancy sobbed in her seat as jurors listened to this anguished call from her then-husband, who made after returning home from an errand to find her strangled 3 children in their Massachusetts home. It's a 7-minute call that was just played for the jury, not for the public. Patrick Clancy can be heard speaking with his wife upon finding her badly injured and bleeding in the yard after she jumped from the home's second-story window. So Lindsay Clancy sobbed and covered her face as jurors heard Patrick's 911 call. Prosecutors say Clancy acted intentionally and is criminally responsible for the deaths of their 3 small children. This will be a lot of conversation over 2 months around her mental state in those moments. Let's be joined right now here on Live Now from Fox by criminal defense attorney, friend of the program, Matt Timpanic. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if people would have wanted to hear that 911 call. We saw a transcript of it later, but how much was this emotional, powerful 911 call? How convincing could it be today?
Today, that call is something you can never unhear for a juror. That was literally hearing Patrick Clancy's soul removed from his body, making that 911 call. It's going to have an impact on the jury, understanding what the stakes are, what the mental state was, and what it will take for a person to actually commit this offense. Because given the true heinous nature of it, it has to be somebody who's a cold, calculated murderer or somebody who's going through postpartum psychosis. And that's what the jury has to figure out.
Yeah, and they're going to have to discern that. We're going to see medical experts over the next several weeks. The judge telling the jury that they're going to have to separate the emotion from it, from what they heard. How hard is
yes, TNT.
that for a jury?
It's impossible. You say that because that's what the law states. Any person who's ever tried a case knows that you need to find people who can do the best they can to eliminate emotion. That's why during voir dire you tried to...
You know, I think I may have saw something about that, Steve Easy, but I don't know if I actually read through like any reports on that. But I think I did see something about it.
Target people with biases.
Fucking
people
crazy,
that you
man.
know aren't going to be able to set it apart. Nobody's going to be able to be unemotional hearing that case, hearing the facts and circumstances. All that you're really hoping for is that people are going to base their verdict based on the facts and evidence presented in front of them. Emotion will come into play. They try not to, but if it's based on the facts and evidence, that's all you can really hope for.
And we've seen
All right, and so at least you guys know a little bit of about what's going on here, and let's see if they do happen to play any type of evidence here. It says Lindsay Clancy sobs during the 911 call being played in court. We can't hear it on the stream. So unfortunately, the stream was not able to hear it when they were recording it. Damn it. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. So U.S. launches new strikes against Iran in powerful response. This coming out 14 hours ago, by the way. Obviously, we do everything chronologically in that kind of order, right? So let's go ahead and discuss what's happening here. Let's bring this up. Give me 2 seconds. Here we go.
Breaking news into the newsroom. We are hearing from U.S. CENTCOM that U.S. forces have begun launching strikes against Iran. It started at 8 p.m. Eastern time today. They say the strikes are a powerful response to yesterday.
What's up, Jamie? By the way, good morning.
Attempted Iranian attacks on U.S. forces based in the Middle East. Let's bring in retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and the host of the Strap podcast, Hal Kempfer. He's here with me to discuss. Okay, Hal, we are just kind of coming online as these strikes are being announced by the U.S. military. So precise information is.
I love how whenever there's exchange of any type of fire, right, between anybody, I'm glad that they bring on Hal Kempfer because I actually know I'm going to get the scoop with the guy, you know?
Sparse for now. Perhaps we'll get more details as the night moves forward. One thing I notice in this that I don't typically see them use in these posts, they use the word powerful response. Why would they feel the need to put a word like that in there, given?
That's exactly what I said at the top of the hour, is every single one of our responses is powerful.
What the Iranians did just yesterday.
Well, Austin, I think part of it is because of what the president said today. He used some pretty strong and at one time very graphic language to describe what this, what the strikes would look like, the retaliation would look like for what the Iranians did. And I think that CENTCOM is just picking up on that and using the term powerful. Now, powerful might infer that it's more powerful than what we've seen before. And that could infer a lot of different systems, perhaps more B-1 bombers coming in, delivering a tremendous amount of ordnance, something that, far beyond what they can do with, F-16s or F-18s alone. So there could be some other things. I'm really curious to see what we hit. That's going to answer a lot of questions. The president was talking about hitting bridges. He was talking about hitting power plants. Now, I should mention, if these were only for civilian use, yeah, they could be construed as a war crime. But if they're dual use, if the military uses them along with civilians, then they are lawful targets under the international laws of war. But he's talking about hitting those, and that would be a very powerful strike because literally it's turning out the lights and it stops the ability of people to move from one city to the other. So that could be what he's implying as well.
As we learn more about the situation, I can't help but think about the wider prospects and what we've been seeing in other countries as of late. The Saudis getting directly involved, we've learned within the past 24 hours. They struck at an Iran-backed group in Iraq. Of course, the Houthis in Yemen have been something we've been tracking as well, Hal. What countries are you watching, other than the U.S. and Iran? What of
Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Kuwait, Jordan, all the Gulf states. China. I keep an eye on everybody.
Other countries are you watching closely this week? Would Saudi Arabia be the top one?
Yes.
That would be the top one.
That's why it was the very first one I said, Saudi Arabia.
Here's what the Saudis are doing. They are now engaged. They have been engaged with the Houthis. The Houthis have been targeting the Saudis. They hit a couple of major ports. They hit the east-west pipeline itself. That's that.
Oh shit, my man Virginia Chaos coming in big time, by the way. He sends in $40 fucking on the Cash App, by the way, so I get to keep 100% of those proceeds, by the way. Hit the goddamn like button, people. Yes, sir. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let's get the likes up, man. And thank you very much, Virginia Chaos, for that $40, man. That's humongous. Appreciate you, my man. Let's go.
Big pipeline that runs across the country, carries about 7 million barrels of oil a day. They hit that. That's like the backup plan, if you will. If you can't get oil out of the Strait of Hormuz, you send to east-west, it goes to the Red Sea. A lot of that oil that goes to the Red Sea into the port of Yanbu goes out the Bab el-Mandeb Strait into the Indian Ocean, then out to Asia. Well, by the Houthis saying they're going to, they're putting a naval blockade on the Saudis, had blocked those ships from going that way, which means they'd have to go all the way up through the Suez Canal, all the way around the Horn of Africa, which adds a tremendous amount of cost. And then today, a drone hit Egypt around the Suez Canal. Now, it's not clear where the drone came from. It could be from the Houthis. We're not sure. But that's blocking off the Saudis from exporting any oil. And the Saudis, of course, just got involved with that joint strike mission with the U.S. going up to Iraq to retaliate against the Popular Mobilization Front strikes in Saudi Arabia. So the big question is, will Saudi Arabia join in on going after the mothership for all these groups, which is Iran? And if they do, they bring a lot to the fight. They've got about 230 plus strike aircraft. They could really dramatically change the equation, and they're right there. So you're talking about shorter sortie times. There's just a lot of things that could happen. Of course, the other side is everyone is nervous. Will the Iranians start striking, fragile infrastructure, oil, gas, and of course those desalination plants? Everyone's nervous about that, and everyone's running kind of low on air defense weaponry. So I'm going to watch the Saudis.
The Iranians, they restarted the fight. They struck first, and I had a question about, Iran having.
And they also struck in Egypt, a tank that holds petroleum, right? That people were calling it a tanker. And when you say a tanker, people think of a ship. Okay, this is on the actual normal land, and it's a tank, and it was owned and operated by the United States, and it did get hit with a drone yesterday, by the way.
The ability to do that and the confidence to do that, to test the pause in the fighting in such a way, Hal, does that tell us a little bit about the calculus and how Iran is thinking about how they navigate this war moving forward?
I don't think they're using calculus. I think it's a basic arithmetic. Basically, what you have up in Tehran is you have this hardliner Revolutionary Guard Corps group led by General Vahidi. That's the IRGC. And some of the IRGC commanders are actually out there launching strikes. And it's not clear that they ever had any, clearance or guidance from above to do so. They just launched these strikes.
What's up, Sterling Wheels? Shout out to my man, by the way. Good morning to you.
Then you have what's now being termed the pro-compromise group, which could be President Pezeshkian, the foreign minister, Galibaf, the head of their legislature, who's been leading their negotiation team. They're for negotiating in good faith, compromising on things in order to stop the war. And then there's a small group out there, which is a third group, which is never negotiate with the Americans, never negotiate with the great Satan, never. And even though they're not as big.
By the way, out there, I've seen every one of your comments. Don't spam my chat the same fucking comment. If you do that, I'm just going to boot you, dude. I don't need you spamming the same fucking comment.
They're not part of the other two big factions. They are very influential. They have held like some very, one of their leaders held a key seat in the National Security Council with the Supreme Leader. So you have this going on, which makes it very difficult to negotiate and makes for this rather difficult to discern policy, if you will, coming out of Iran. We're just never quite sure. We think, well, maybe they're going to stop fighting, and then they just start fighting again. I think that's what we're seeing here.
Oh, look, this motherfucker a little bit jealous right now. Hey, I got a sandwich I'm snacking on. Let me go ahead and share it with you.
Man, motherfucker talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not giving a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
What you said, you know what I mean? All right, let's go ahead and get into this next report. Russia strikes Ukrainian capital, which is Kyiv, with ballistic missiles. So this happened, let me see, the report came out 13 hours ago. So roughly about 10, 11 p.m. last night, Central Standard Time for me. Okay, so let's go and bring this up and figure out what's happening over there in Ukraine.
Welcome back in Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall. We are getting breaking news. Vladimir Zelensky posting this on social media. Earlier, they were preparing in Ukraine for a massive attack from the Russians, saying there was a high probability that an attack would happen tonight. Well, we have since gotten confirmation from multiple news outlets that that strike has begun. Russia launching ballistic missiles into Kyiv early Thursday local time. Residents were urged to seek shelter as explosions started to be heard across the Ukrainian capital. It's according to Reuters and a number of other news outlets. Let's bring in retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and
they brought him back.
Podcast, Hal Kempfer. He's here with me still. Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, I mean, because these reports, the last report that you guys saw happened only like an hour before this one. So
Zelensky knew that
something was likely to happen tonight. Ukrainian intel suggested that a strike was going to be coming at some point, and then just, I want to say 4 or 5 hours ago, Zelensky sent that post out saying it's going to be happening tonight. I believe he sent that out around 10 p.m. local time. The strike's beginning in recent hours, so it's happening in the overnight hours in Ukraine. How the best we can tell as of now, and again, preliminary information with this for now, what are you seeing is taking place in the Ukrainian capital?
Well, also with what little we know is they are being hit. It sounds like they're being hit pretty hard. One of the things that the Russians have discovered, they used to do these strikes, they'd have a large mix of drones, which could be what they have here, and a smaller mix, a very small percentage of that would be ballistic missiles that they bring in. The Ukrainians are right now in a deficit of air defense missiles that can take out the Russian ballistic missiles. For that reason, we have seen, it seems to be a trend with the Russians trying to lean on using more ballistic missiles. They have a limited number of ballistic missiles. They only produce them at a certain rate, so it's difficult for them to use a lot. But it could be that they saved up a lot of ballistic missiles and that they're doing a big onslaught with ballistic missiles, in which case most of them will probably get through. And you could see.
What's up, DA from Boston? Shout out to my man, by the way. Good morning.
Some significant damage in around
Boston.
Kyiv. And the ballistic missiles tend to hit with a tremendous amount of force. And even though people may be hunkered down in bomb shelters, every once in a while, it's just not enough, and casualties are incurred on the Ukrainian side. So that's why I think it's coming in tonight. I think that President Zelensky is doing everything he can from an information standpoint to keep people informed, to try and get as many people as possible out of harm's way. And that's about all he can do.
So this would be different than what we typically, when we hear of drone and strikes happening all the time in this fight. Why is what's happening tonight different?
I think what's happening tonight's different is it sounds like it's going to be, and again, we won't know until tomorrow. It sounds like a lot of ballistic missiles. It's also, in some ways, President Putin's statement following everything that's just happened this week, with President Zelensky going over to Great Britain and then meeting with, President Trump at Senator Graham's funeral, that he wanted to assert himself, validate Russia. There's a lot of discussion in Russia that basically Putin is weak, that his strategy is not working. Medvedev came out yesterday. That used to be, well, at one time it was, he was the president of Russia, but he's holds a high level position. He came out and made the extraordinary statement of saying, "Oh, we're doing really well in recruiting. We recruited 200,000 Russians to join the military," but that's because there's just rampant rumors, stories going about that there'll be a massive mobilization of Russian personnel. And President Zelensky, among others in Ukraine, have said, if that's the case, in so many words, that there's going to be a lot of Russian casualties that come from this. But Putin is feeling a lot of pressure to do something, and this is a something.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was about to say. Is right now Putin's a little bit on his back heels here. So when he's attacking the Kyiv, it's common for these countries to attack their main capitals. But when it comes with the amount of missiles that are going to be used, that's what actually is in discussion there, right? So anyways, we got to move on into the Middle East latest. China reportedly is sending 400 rocket launchers to Iran. Now, these are not what you may be thinking, like RPGs or some shit. No, these are though the shoulder mounted ones that are meant to shoot down helicopters, drones, stuff like that. And so this is the report. And I've fact checked it beforehand, but I'm gonna also, because I saw Steve Easy say, or someone say in the chat, that there is an update that China is declining that they ever made that. So I want to fact check it right now as well. But this is the report. Here we go.
Welcome back. A live look at the Strait of Hormuz, courtesy of Marine Traffic.
And this, obviously this ties into our thumbnail today, as you guys can see. Because as I said here, China enters Iran conflict in the title, and Trump speaks, Russia strikes Kyiv, blah, blah, blah. But we made the thumbnail based off of that today. All right, quickly, here we go.
We have a question here. What's the likelihood we'll see even further expansion of the war in Iran? That's the question on our mind after the Iranians restarted the fighting this week with a surprise attack on U.S. forces in Jordan, and then Saudi forces for the first time joining U.S. strikes in Iraq afterward.
Okay, so what they're saying right here is yes, China has officially denied the report. China's foreign ministry responded to the Reuters exclusive, because Reuters is the one that put it out originally. the Reuters exclusive by stating the quote unquote, the relevant reports are completely groundless. China has consistently played a role in promoting peace and ending the conflict. Coming out from Reuters again. So Reuters put out the original report, and then they put out the second report regarding China's position there. So right now, there are two competing narratives that are going on, that this did happen, and obviously they're just saying this to save face, or it really who knows. So it says Reuters reporting. Reuters cited three sources familiar with the agreement. The report says Iran is expected to receive up to 400 Chinese-made man pads, which are QW-12s and FN-16s, within weeks. The reported deal is valued at roughly $60 to $70 million and would be reportedly be routed through intermediaries. I don't even know what that means. China's position. China says the report is false, completely groundless. Beijing maintains that it is working to de-escalate the conflict, then fuel it. Iran has not publicly confirmed the alleged purchase or shipment. Okay, so we know the deal here.
Hormuz, and since we're talking about the Saudis, we've been talking about the Saudis and the Houthis quite a bit lately. This is the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. This is another critical waterway that we may be discussing quite a bit.
That's down there by Yemen.
Moving forward here. Meanwhile, President Trump today telling Fox News that we're, quote, going to beat the effing S out of them. We'll be hitting them hard, he said. They're going to get a beating. Let's check in with Professor Alon Burstein. He's here with me. He's the host of the Israel-Palestine Report. And Alon, as always, there is a lot going on tonight. Let's start with this latest post from U.S. Central Command. They just put this out saying forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. Eastern time. The strikes are a powerful response to yesterday's attempted Iranian attacks on U.S. forces based in the Middle East. So Alon, I guess my big question here tonight, and for anybody that's watching this on YouTube a little bit later tonight, we're having this conversation just past 9:30 Eastern time. So it's been about 90 minutes since this operation began. I know you're clued in and you're wired into what's happening on the ground through leaks and what we're hearing from sources that are closer to the action. Are we seeing that these strikes are still being carried out? What level of clarity do we have on that?
Thank you for having me, Austin. From what we've seen, at least in the last, I'd say an hour, so like you said, it's right around 9:35 p.m. Eastern time now. In the last hour, there have not been any more reports of air defense systems being activated. Where the attacks took place tonight is significant because it clues us into how the United States, at least as far as it's concerned, how it's viewing the current return to fighting. Maybe we'll talk in a moment about what happened the last several days. If we just go back to tonight, what we had after this pause is the United States carrying out attacks, and despite all the rhetoric, despite the increasing threats, despite Trump talking about obliterating and a return in bridges and power plants, the actual attacks that took place tonight, according to reports on the ground, are pretty much mirroring the same levels of attacks that we've seen over the last 2 weeks. If you zoom it back to me on the big screen, I'll try to zoom in here, and where most of the attacks have happened over the last, again, 2 hours, have been in
Bandar Abbas in that
and around
region.
the Strait of Hormuz again. We've had attacks at Sirik over here, Jasek.
Man, Sirik is always a point of where they hit. It seems like every single time. Same thing with Bandar Abbas.
Bandar Abbas, Keshem Island, these other smaller islands over here, and then we had another attack that was reported in the areas of Ahfaz, this area up here, but all of those are connected to the waterway. All of those are connected to the Persian Gulf and to the Strait of Hormuz. We have not seen attacks escalating to
Going
what
in the northern
at least
area.
Trump was implying might happen, which includes power plants.
Well, yeah, exactly. And we've been watching to make sure whatever they're hitting. I look up multiple times a day what they are hitting.
Which includes Pickaxe Out Mountain, which includes all kinds of other targets, either north of Iran or in the northeastern, northwestern parts of Iran. We haven't seen any of that, at least yet. I will say there's all kinds of sporadic reports that come out now and then from basically activists on the ground that are saying that air defense systems have been operated here and there. So we've had a report in the last 24 hours of air defense systems that were operated in Tehran, in the capital. We had another report of air defense systems being operated somewhere near Iraq over here. But in all of those cases, no one took responsibility for any attack, and there's no reports of attacks on the ground. That doesn't mean there was an attempted attack. Air defense systems could be operated against a drone, could be an Israeli drone, could be an American drone, could be spy drones, could be a lot of things. It doesn't mean necessarily an immediate escalation, but it's an indication of the tensions. It's an indication of the tensions and how high tensions are running right now. But somewhat surprisingly, despite all the rhetoric leading up to the weekend when Trump and Israel were already talking about a full-on return to fighting, and now with the bombastic. They're going to be hit hard. So far, the targets are pretty much a repeat of the same types of targets that we've seen every night over the last 2 weeks.
So all of this, we're talking about this because the new round of fighting has begun. Iran began that new round of fighting. What's the train of thought as to why they might have started this most recent exchange?
So it's a great question because a lot of people, a lot of analysts also have been surprised. When we look at what happened over the last 3 weeks, we've now had this escalation. The breakdown of the ceasefire happened 3 weeks ago. It happened when Iran fired at 3 commercial vessels going through the Omani Pass in the Strait of Hormuz. The United States canceled the lifting of sanctions or reinstated the sanctions and started bombing. And then we had this escalation and it was really leading up to this last weekend. What happened all of a sudden on Sunday night, the guns went silent. The guns went silent. The United States, without saying anything, just did not attack that night. And as a result, Iran, without saying anything, did not attack Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, all the places they've been attacking, did not attack them either. No one knew what happened. Lots of speculation. There's a lot of reports that Trump was told that the United States does not have enough interceptors, and that's why that's been denied, but others have confirmed it. And no one really knew what happened. And then Iran put out an interesting message on Sunday night. Put out an interesting message, and they said, silence will be met with silence. That is essentially a code that's used in the Middle East. Israel's done this a lot with Hezbollah and Hamas. It says, if you don't fire, we don't fire. We don't have an agreement. If you don't fire, we don't fire. And that's what happened Sunday. That's what happened Monday. And then all of a sudden, Iran fired again.
Yep.
All of a sudden, Iran carried out.
Well, the problem is they have 35 different like factions within the IRGC. It's like, it's not one just military, for instance. It's like 35 different factions within the country. And one faction could be attacking from the north or one faction could be attacking from the south. It's hard to get everybody on board with these kind of agreements during this time, especially.
4 or 5, depends who you believe, ballistic missiles that were fired from Iran targeting this base in Jordan. Why did they do that?
What's up, Logical Spark? Good morning.
We have to consider the timing. There's a reason I brought up what happened 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, when Iran attacked those commercial vessels, it was in the middle
91
of a
million
meeting between Trump and NATO leaders.
91.
When they carried out this attack on Tuesday, it was several hours after the meeting between Netanyahu and Trump. This is symbolic for them. This is sending a message. This is saying, while you, Trump, can meet with the other leaders and think you're going to decide the fate of the war, we're going to decide the fate of the war. We're going to be the ones that decide when there's firing, when there's not. So that's one reason. A second reason is Iran is trying to come out on top at the end of this war. Through the memorandum of understanding, they're hoping to get a lot of control of the Strait of Hormuz, and they're trying to show that they can carry out attacks whenever they want. And they've been testing the waters. Since Sunday, their militias were firing drones from Iraq at Saudi Arabia, at Jordan, at Kuwait, and according to some reports at Israel also. And they were testing to see if the United States would retaliate. The United States did not. So this was.
Oh, I really hope that we don't put any troops on the ground. And you're right. It would take a humongous force, and it would be a bloodbath. Absolutely, I'm 100% against it.
Just an escalation. It was pushing the needle even further to test. Can we occasionally fire at the United States? The United States will absorb it. Second reason. But the third reason, and this is the one that I think is often ignored, and you have heard me to say this when it comes to the Middle East and wars in general, probably 100 times over the last 3 years. When we want to understand how a country or entity operates, look to internal politics. Within Iran, there is a constant push and pull happening right now between two main factions. One of them is led by Ahmed Wahidi. He is the head of the Revolutionary Guards. And the other is led by the president, Masoud Pezeshkian. Pezeshkian would like things to spiral down. He is an economist at heart. He's desperate to rebuild Iran's economy. Wants it to spiral down. The Revolutionary Guards want things to escalate. And I would read this mostly as a push and pull within the internal politics of Iran. The Revolutionary Guard saying, you may say silence will be met with silence, but when we want, we'll fire. That's how I read this more than anything else. It's part of the
well, yeah, because it's been the rhetoric that they've used for a long time.
Internal politics that happen within Iran that then projects obviously elsewhere. Then we'll see now where it goes. Iran carried out that attack. The United States responded by not by attacking Iran. The United States retaliated first by attacking the militias in Iraq. Pretty substantial attack. Now they've attacked Iran. Iran will probably retaliate against Kuwait. And now the sides will have to decide. Are they going to go back to talking? Or are they going to just have a repeat of what we had the last 3 weeks? Random bombings happening each night without any measurable results on either side.
So there's been a number of headlines that have come through. And,
oh,
and
here's
I appreciate the
okay. Remember when I was telling you guys in Egypt, one of our gas storage tanker was hit by a drone. Remember how I told you guys about that? Just I don't know, maybe 15 minutes ago. Here is one of the reports on it.
Reporting. A lot of people have been asking about the Egypt situation. To catch anybody up who's not clued in, a drone hit a U.S.-owned.
And I reported this on the breaking news aspect in the Discord, in in the server, I have a little breaking news area, and I broke that in the
gas storage tanker
there
at Egypt's
yesterday.
Mediterranean port of Damietta. This is according to a British security firm, and Reuters is reporting this. President Trump was asked about this today. He said that he was briefed on this situation, and then he warned that the U.S. would respond forcefully if Iran continues to escalate tensions. Where is this port, Alone? Is this a significant event, this situation?
I would say it is. It's fairly significant, yes. But honestly, we don't really need him to go on about that. Now, real quick, this is where on the title of this is the reason why we even got to it, was because of this report right here. When this is the original report that Reuters put out, exclusive. Iran is expected to receive within weeks a first shipment out of up to 400 Chinese-made shoulder-fired air defense missile launchers as it rebuilds its defense amid war with the United States. Now, that was the original report, but then we kind of fact-checked it because we actually saw somebody in the chat say, well, China is already declining it. And so, yes, China has officially denied the report. China's foreign ministry responded to the Reuters exclusive by stating, quote, the relevant reports are completely groundless. China has consistently played a role in promoting peace and ending the conflict. And Reuters put that out. So, anyways, very, very interesting. So let's go ahead and move on. We got to get into, we got a couple of things here. War between U.S. and Iran escalates as China gets involved. That's what they were reporting as of 4 hours ago now. We're about to bring that up. And then we'll talk about how Russia charges Telegram founder with aiding terrorism, which to me is funny because, I mean, Putin aids in terrorism directly. So, like, I don't know. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this up here for you guys. And also remember, we're in overtime now. We're 6 minutes into overtime. Make sure you know what they say about overtime. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Send in your freaking money, man. Let's go. All right, here we go.
I do want to start with breaking news updates today, though, regarding the war in the Middle East, specifically between the U.S. and Iran, as CENTCOM has released new video. Take a look at this here on your screen. So CENTCOM releasing this as the strikes do continue. The fighting continues between the U.S. and Iran, as we know that negotiations are also happening behind the scenes. CENTCOM saying that at 10 p.m. Eastern time on July 29th, U.S. Central Command forces successfully completed a heavy wave of strikes against Iran in response to yesterday's attempted missile attack on U.S. forces. So taking a look, this is just the video that they have released. Now, they went on to say that CENTCOM assets, excuse me.
Yeah, it was Virginia Chaos. Thank you. That I knew it was. At first, I thought it was Steve Easy, but then I'm like, no, that it wasn't Steve Easy, but it was somebody I respect. So
struck dozens of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps targets in Iran, including military command centers, missile and drone facilities, coastal surveillance and defense sites, and maritime capabilities. I want to bring up the social media post where I was just reading from. It details just what you can see in that video and the purpose of those strikes. Now, they went on to say that the strikes aimed to further diminish threats posed by Iran and its proxies to American forces, commercial shipping, and neighboring Gulf countries. On July 28th, the IRGC forces launched multiple ballistic missiles from Iran in an attempted surprise attack on U.S. forces based in the Middle East. All Iranian missiles were successfully intercepted. Let's go back to some more of that video as I continue reading this courtesy of the Associated Press. It says the stop-start fighting between the United States and Iran appears to have entered a new phase as Saudi Arabia has publicly joined military escalations against Tehran-backed proxies.
No, yeah, that was a good find, Virginia Chaos, for sure.
At the same time, an already untenable diplomatic effort to end the war has faltered once again as mistrust deepens between the longtime adversaries. Despite several days of relative calm, both sides carried out military strikes in the last 24 hours that once again risk a return to an all-out war and further expansion in the region.
Shit, real quick, we got Steve Easy coming in with the $2 saying dollar dues XV3. Yes, sir. Very much appreciate you making it rain in the chat, my man. And dues are paid. Absolutely appreciate that. All right,
clear
let's get
about
into
what
this.
strategy the American or Iranian officials are going to have for a path forward. I also want to post or showcase this post courtesy of Fox News. They say breaking: Trump tells Fox News' Trey Yingst that the U.S. will beat the expletives out of them.
Expletives. Let me go ahead and read it. Trey Yingst. So that's coming from Trey Yingst regards to Trump. So Trump tells Fox News' Trey Yingst U.S. will beat the fucking shit out of them after attack on U.S. forces in Jordan. Now, I also reported this little segment as well. What I ended up doing is I actually did put it on the show. Originally, I think I put it in the Discord, and then the next morning I did end up showing this tweet or post rather.
After an attack on U.S. forces in Jordan. Now, President Trump and his allies have spent recent days arguing that Iran is begging to return to the negotiating table.
Yeah, but they're not. Let's see. I want to get these images where I've got full screen like this. All right, I want to see these recent CENTCOM images.
Developing in the region. You can see here all of these have been unclassified. Now, after President Trump had turned back to those threats on Wednesday, hours later, the strikes followed as the U.S. military said it launched a powerful response to yesterday's attempted Iranian attack.
What's up, KSD? Great to see you in the chat, by the way, Frost. Great to see you.
Attacks on U.S. forces based in the Middle East, and that was reported on that social media post from CENTCOM that I just showcased moments ago. Now, we are still waiting to see if we get some more developments later on today on these tensions that continue.
No way, Virginia Chaos. For real? Oh, man, that fucking sucks. Where's Roberto been hiding? Shit, that motherfucker gay as fuck. You know what I mean?
In the Middle East that involve several points here as negotiations again continue. A lot of those having to do with Iran's nuclear program, but also the Strait of Hormuz, which we do have a live look at this moment, courtesy of marine traffic. The Strait of Hormuz here, the red dots on the screen are tanker vessels, the green dots are cargo vessels. And so we'll just have to wait and see what else comes out from these latest strikes and if we get more video from CENTCOM later on today.
All right, so let's go and move on into now. Russia charges Telegram founder with aiding terrorism, which is rich coming from Putin, you know? So let me go ahead and bring this up, figure out what's going on here.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox. The time 8:34 if you are joining us over on the East Coast and 5:34 on the West Coast. I want to get you back into the headlines as you're hearing
so
from
funny,
Senator Rick Scott a lot about the situation there with Russia and Ukraine. And we've now learned that Russia is saying that it's charged Pavel Durov, the founder and CEO of the messaging app Telegram, with aiding terrorism. The charges against the Russian-born founder come as Russia is attempting to restrict the use of Telegram as part of a widespread crackdown on its online freedom. The Federal Security Service, also known as the FSB, said in a statement it accused Telegram's administration of failing to remove, quote, numerous channels, chats, and bots, end quote, allegedly used by, quote, Ukrainian intelligence agencies, terrorist and extremist organizations to prepare and coordinate acts of sabotage and terrorism, mass murder, and cyber fraud in Russia, which resulted in numerous human casualties. I do want to bring in Ivana Stradner over at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, an expert on the topic, to help discuss all of this a little bit further. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us, Ivana.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Of course. And I want to start by...
You know what I always find interesting is all these FDD reporters, I've noticed, every single one of them have terrible audio and they're all on their laptop. No microphone, no... Like, you're talking to the world, and let's just get on a piece of shit laptop from 10 years ago, you know?
Talking about these charges here, we know that Durov is now on the international most wanted list, and that's, of course, for Russia there. What does all of this kind of say about the control that Russia wants to have over really what people there can access?
This, what you explain with Telegram, isn't really about Telegram. It is about control. Because dictators like Putin fears more like a...
He's actually got decent enough audio where we can actually hear her clear, because a lot of these FDD guys get on and it's difficult.
Freedom on the internet than our nuclear weapons. Why? Because Putin understands very well
Magic Man?
That who has access to free speech and who has access to free information is the one, you know, who can control things. But I think it's very important to put this into context, because we are talking about 2026 when Russia basically charged Telegram founder with allegedly helping terrorism. But there is a much broader topic out there, because this is not the first time that Russia has been trying to go after Telegram. For the past 8 years, Russia has been going after Telegram, claiming, that they didn't want to shut down certain bots, that they were aiding numerous groups. But in 2012, there were massive protests inside Russia and putting claim, that was all plotted by the CIA over social media. And this is when he started actually going after social media. In 2019, he enacted...
So he was originally just going after because of just a fake narrative that went on the internet. So now he's got a problem with communications.
Another law on sovereign internet law, basically that all social media companies had to comply with certain rules inside Russia, very, very strict rules. But then it leads to 2022, when Russia completely banned foreign social media. Basically, nowadays in Russia, if you use the word war instead of a special military operation, you can end up in prison. Just to give you an idea.
What?
Yeah, Russia has been...
I'm sure what it does is it's a red flag word. So I'm sure if anytime you use war in a text or message or direct, whatever, I'm sure that it red flags it. And then I'm sure that their system picks up what they were talking about.
Books. Russia has been banning different shows. And
Yo, Magic Man, appreciate that gold coin, by the way. Thank you for making it rain in the chat. Appreciate that.
That brings me back to the Cold War era, because this is just another, Stalin type of repression. But here is the good news. The good news is that Russia tried to ban numerous social media in the past, including VPN systems, how the Russians have been trying to avoid that. And
yeah,
they
Virginia
failed
Chaos,
multiple
you're
times.
not even joking. That's hilarious, bro. Yes, totally.
It's because Russia is really not so strong when it comes to technology. And the Russians already found numerous ways how to go about and how to avoid that. Just several months ago, Russia introduced their own social media platform called Max that is fully controlled by the government.
Yeah, it's government-controlled social media.
And if I were Russian, I would absolutely not install something like that, knowing that, the government can spy on me. And that actually led to numerous protests inside Russia because people are very discontent with this. But that leads to my last point related to this. Why would Putin actually do that if he was so strong internally? Because he's not. He fears his own people. He's losing on the battlefield. His economy is collapsing. So all he has to do is to continue doing those type of repressions, but it's not going to work. Stalin tried, and
well, as that motherfucker continues to have all the money in Russia, it's just going to be, I don't know. Anyways, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for allowing me to do this Monday through Friday, and of course, members only on Saturday morning, man. Thank you guys to the members that sign up to be members. That's what allows us to do this, so I'm very honored by that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. Until then, make sure you guys stay safe out there. God bless all of you guys. Much love, honor, respect, everybody, and we'll see you guys here very soon. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes